as the clock strikes 10. Good morning, everybody. My name is Christopher Sullivan. I'm the Deputy Official Secretary to Her Excellency the Governor. It's my great honour and privilege to be your MC this morning. Welcome, of course, to everybody here, but of course to everybody joining us online as well. Could I ask you please, first of all, actually thank the wonderful musicians of the Clarinet Quartet of the Australian Navy Band. And I'd like to acknowledge that joining Mr Wilson in the front row this morning is Acting Commissioner Leon Taylor from Corrective Services, New South Wales, Deputy Commissioner Darren Schott representing the Commissioner of Marine Rescue, and of course Mrs Diane and Mr David North from the Order of Australia Association. Welcome to you all this morning. Will you please now stand for the arrival of Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley, Governor of New South Wales. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated.
Budjeri Gamarua, Dian Babana Gamarada. Welcome in the language of the Gadigal people on whose lands we are here today to celebrate a very important occasion in the lives of 30 wonderful people. When I was out walking early this morning, just checking on the weather for you, it crossed my mind as to what you were thinking, what you as the family and the friends of today's recipients and what the recipients were thinking about today. Excitement, undoubtedly. The anxiety of getting here on time. How important it is to each and every one of you as individuals. But I wonder whether your thinking went further than that. Because today is really quite extraordinary. Not only are our recipients extraordinary, but you are part of the most wonderful history. 65,000 years of a wonderful history on this land, the most unique nation in the world with that celebration. A continuous peoples living here for 65,000 years. I mean, just amazing. You know, we all learned about the ancient Greeks in school, but my goodness, what a history that is. And then you move forward 65,000 years, almost. You're here today in a historic house. First occupied in 1845, the building started in the late 1830s, and first occupied in 1845 as the Governor's House of Sydney. I have the extraordinary privilege of holding the oldest public office in the land. And as part of the privileges I have in that position, it is to convene these investitures and to confer the Orders of Australia on our wonderful recipients. So history just keeps coming together. And in the 1970s, another really significant part of our history emerged in Australia. We can start in 1972 And undoubtedly, for one or two of you in the room, you will remember that that is what we might call the era of Gough Whitlam. But it was 1973 when Queen Elizabeth became Queen of Australia. In 1974, Advance Australia Fair, for the first time, was formally proclaimed as our national anthem. An anthem where we sing about our people and about our beautiful country. It's one of the few anthems in the world, indeed, where we sing about people and country and not about the celebration of a revolution. Because what we have had in this country, fortunately, has been an evolution of our history. And then, on the 14th of February 1975, Queen Elizabeth, as Queen of Australia, signed Letters Patent, which proclaimed or commenced the Order of Australia as the recognition in our country of those who had given great service to our country. And indeed, the first investiture ceremony was held during the Queen's visit here in March of 1977 for her silver jubilee, and she presided at the first investiture ceremony. Now we were thinking about putting into the King's program in October that he might come here and invest you with your Orders of Australia, but we couldn't guarantee the weather. So we thought we would stick to our original plan and stay in September, as we traditionally do. So this is a great history, and today's recipients are part of that history. They are part of the history which recognises those who I've said give service to Australia. And the manner in which they do it is so varied that you suddenly see the wealth, the true wealth of what goes on in Australia, from high professional and academic excellence to a person who comes from a town that doesn't even have 500 people in it, but because she's here today, is undoubtedly at the heart of those 500 people and keeps the town going, and everything in between. People who do work in our emergency services, and during that period, 2019 through to 2022, didn't we need them? But I wonder how many of you have stopped and thought how much time those who give their service to the emergency services as first responders do, not only in the work, but in the training leading up to it. It's an extraordinary amount of work, and it's why they're so good at what they do. And there are those professionals in the corrective services who likewise do extraordinary, sometimes dangerous work, but work which is absolutely essential to enable people to go through a system and, fingers crossed, but with a great deal of work, come out the other side so that we have a safer community, people who do public service. And then there's everything in between. This history, the history of the Order of Australia, the personal history of every individual here today, can be summed up by what was said by Tony Abbott. Now, Tony Abbott was hardly a fellow traveller with Gough Whitlam, but he was able to say this when Gough Whitlam died. He said, he was a giant of a man. In his 3 years as Prime Minister, with his vision, he changed the face of Australia, which still continues. The way I see those people, the people today whom we celebrate, whom we acknowledge, I see them as the giants of Australia, because each in their own way have made a contribution, and they've done so in circumstances which has changed their particular community, whether it be the small geographical community in regional New South Wales, whether it be in hospitals, whether it be in a profession, whether it be keeping the cricket club going. They're extraordinary stories. These Investiture days in Government House are some of the happiest days that we have. The staff love them. They make the place look marvellous for you. You should have seen the activity this morning. It was extraordinary. It's almost like the TV show with people in white jackets running in every direction. But it is for you, and it is because we celebrate you. Listen to the stories. You will be inspired, I can assure you.
Your Excellency, to be invested with the insignia of the Officer of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Professor Thomas Maschmeyer. Professor Maschmeyer has been Professor of Chemistry at University of Sydney for over 2 decades. He is lead of the Laboratory of Advanced Catalysis for Sustainability and was founding director of the Nano Institute. His research has appeared in over 330 peer-reviewed publications with 23 book chapters and over 13,000 citations. He has 29 patents or patent applications. Vice President and former President of the Catalysis Society of Australia, Professor Maschmeyer was co-founder of Gelion Technologies, where he is Executive Chairman and Principal Technology Advisor. He is co-founder and Principal Technology Advisor of Licella Holdings. Former Professor and Head of the Delft Institute of Chemical Technologies Department of Applied Organic and Catalytic Chemistry. Goodness me, that's a mouthful, isn't it? He has an honorary doctorate from the Universities of Ca' Foscari, Venice and Trieste. His awards include the Australian Financial Review's Sustainability Prize, Prime Minister's Prize for Innovation, Federation of Asian Chemical Societies Contribution to Economic Development Award, CSIRO Eureka Prize for Leadership in Innovation and Science, and New South Wales Science and Engineering Award for Renewable Energy Innovation. Fellow of the Australian Academy of Science and recipient of its Lefebvre Memorial Prize and David Craig Medal, Professor Maschmeyer is a Fellow of the Royal Society of New South Wales, Royal Australian Chemical Institute and Australian Academy of Technological Sciences and Engineering and foreign member of Academia Europea. For distinguished service to science as a researcher, innovator and educator and business through pioneering commercial technologies, Professor Thomas Maschmeyer. No, stay. You're going to stay for a photo there, sir. The Governor's got room on her mantelpiece for you.
These really are such fantastic days. I can't tell you how uplifted I feel. They're so happy. And as I said, we honour the people in a way in which they should be honoured. And it's not only us here today honouring the recipients. These are national awards. So each of our recipients has been honoured by our nation, and so they should be. You've heard a lot about everything from sort of academics to community contributions. We are really lucky in Australia that we have such a giving population, such giving people. The statistics just for New South Wales is that volunteering, and that's recorded volunteering, it doesn't take into account the incidental volunteering and the mentoring the committees that people sit on, the help that they give others, which is not recorded in any way. But 900 million hours of volunteering time is given by our New South Wales citizens, by 4.5 million of our New South Wales citizens out of a population of 8 million. And for the economy, it's worth $178 billion. It has a return rate of 550%. That is what we've witnessed today. Not only the personal work and the personal contribution and the personal excellence, but we've witnessed that contribution in just this microscopic form today. For that, can I say to each of our recipients, thank you. You really are truly, truly wonderful Australians. Thank you. But there's a few other wonderful Australians. And they're actually in the front of the room because, you know, as we've spoken to recipients of these awards over the years, everyone will say to us, we didn't do it on our own. We did it because we had a partner who helped us, we had a family who kept our feet on the ground, a family who understood the hard times and the hard work. We had colleagues who supported us. We had mentors. And all of you are in the front of the room. And certainly, as Dennis and I have observed the work that's been done, but more, not only more particularly, but and particularly and especially the support that is given, that itself is a public service. So can I thank each and every person in the front of the room for being the person you are and giving the support that you gave. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry I couldn't get the King, but what we are able to do is provide you with the very best of what is available in New South Wales. We've got the people, they're in the room. We now will have our garden party, at which we will only serve the best produce in Australia, which fortunately comes here from New South Wales. We sort of we're very proud of that, and we boast about it. But what are you going to have? Look, I'm going to move over very quickly the Hunter River Duck and Shiraz on the golden brioche, but that'll be there, don't worry, because what really grabbed me was the native spiced cauliflower popcorn. Actually, I left something out, fried popcorn. But if you're a bit worried about your health, I don't want you to be worried about your health because we serve it with a bilberry sweet and sour dipping sauce, which is full of antioxidants and it's a superpower food. So look, just enjoy it. And if you're really, really worried about your health, just go for the dark chocolate slice and that'll fix you up for the day. Our sparkling wine, of course, is from New South Wales. Our wine is from New South Wales. And our mineral water is a Yarru mineral water, which comes from up north from Mount Warning, as it's trickled through the mountain since the last time it went up as a volcano. We've got a geophysicist in the room today. I'm sure he'll agree with me about this. A 23 million year old volcano does wonders for mineral water. You'll love it. We're going to have a party. Let's go outside and enjoy the wonderful weather.
Now, before we bid farewell to our online audience, who no doubt are racing to their larder at the moment, seeing what they've got in store for their morning tea, just a reminder that this morning's ceremony will be available online on our website very shortly after the ceremony concludes. Now, for those who are here in the ballroom, will you please stand for the departure of Her Excellency the Governor, Mr Wilson, and the official party.